No one thought it would happen. Not after the public fallout, the sudden cancellation, and Kevin Costner's dramatic exit from Yellowstone. But now, with one single post, the official Yellowstone team has flipped everything upside down. The question on every fan's mind is Yellowstone Season 6 really coming back with Kevin Costner? If you thought the Dutton saga was over, think again, because what just happened has sparked rumors, speculation, and pure chaos across the Yellowstone fandom. And the most shocking part? Kevin Costner himself might be behind it. It started with a simple post on Yellowstone's official YouTube community page, a gif of Kevin Costner as John Dutton, accompanied by a seemingly innocent question. Do you wish there was another season coming out? At first glance, it might have seemed like a bit of nostalgia or harmless fan engagement. But for longtime viewers who followed the show through its highs, lows, and behind-the-scenes drama, this post felt more like a loaded message, a spark deliberately thrown into dry grass. Fans didn't hesitate. Within minutes, the comment section was flooded. Outrage, hope, disbelief. Every emotion imaginable was on display. After all, this wasn't just a random fan account posting throwbacks. This was Yellowstone's official page, reigniting a fire many thought had already burned out. For those who felt betrayed by how abruptly Season 5 ended, with no closure and no Kevin Costner, this post wasn't just nostalgic. It felt like a challenge. It raised a question no one was prepared to answer. Is there still a chance Yellowstone Season 6 could actually happen, with Costner returning as John Dutton? Let's rewind a bit. Yellowstone was never supposed to end the way it did. Taylor Sheridan had initially promised a 7-season arc, a complete story for the Dutton family. But off-camera conflicts between Sheridan and Costner caused major disruptions. Costner was reportedly upset about scheduling issues, script delays, and how his character was being written. Things escalated. The actor left the show. The creators scrambled to finish Season 5 without him. And fans? Left in the dark. What was supposed to be an epic Western finale ended with silence, confusion, and disappointment. For months, Costner and Sheridan stayed quiet. Interviews were vague. No one confirmed if the show was truly over or if there was hope for a final season. Then came Costner's surprise announcement, a new Western movie called Horizon, directed by and starring him. Many saw this as his final farewell to Yellowstone, his way of moving on. And Sheridan? He poured his energy into spin-offs like 1883, 1923, and the upcoming 4/6s. That's why the recent post hit fans so hard. It wasn't just about wanting another season. It was about everything that went wrong and wondering if it could somehow be fixed. But here's where it gets interesting. While the fandom was still recovering from that post, something even more unexpected happened. Reports began surfacing that Paramount executives have been in talks, not just about spin-offs, but about reviving Yellowstone for one final season, potentially centered entirely around John Dutton. And guess who's suddenly not ruling it out? Kevin Costner. Yes, that's right. After all the tension, Costner recently made public comments in interviews promoting Horizon that he has no bad blood with Taylor Sheridan or Yellowstone, and if things lined up, he'd be open to returning to wrap up the story of John Dutton. This wasn't just wishful thinking. These were his own words. Now imagine the timing. The official page posts a gif of Costner, almost taunting fans with the idea of a new season. Costner himself talks about being open to returning. And Paramount is reportedly exploring new content with the original Yellowstone cast. It all feels way too coordinated to be a coincidence. Could it be that behind the scenes, the creators realized that the way they ended Yellowstone wasn't good enough? That fans deserve real closure? That John Dutton story can't end off-screen, unexplained? For a series as beloved and impactful as Yellowstone, an ending without its central character was never going to be accepted. And now, with the pieces suddenly falling into place, a teasing post, a willing Kevin Costner, and a fanbase still craving more, the once impossible idea of Yellowstone Season 6 no longer feels out of reach. It feels like something big is about to happen. In the next section, we'll dive into the possible storylines of a Kevin Costner return, what John Dutton's final chapter could look like, and how the Yellowstone universe is preparing for a massive shift. Now that the idea of Yellowstone Season 6 is back on the table and Kevin Costner might be willing to return, the biggest question is this. What would the story be? What kind of plot could bring John Dutton back in a way that feels powerful, emotional, and worthy of the character? Let's be real. Season 5 didn't end. It just stopped. We never saw John Dutton's fate. We never got closure for Beth, Rip, Case, or Jamie. Everything was left hanging in the air, like an unfinished chapter. But now, if Yellowstone Season 6 really happens, this could be the perfect opportunity to fix everything and give the Dutton saga the ending it deserves. Here's what fans and insiders are speculating might happen. First, Yellowstone Season 6 would not be a full-length season like before. Instead, it could be a limited series, maybe 3 to 4 episodes, focusing entirely on John Dutton's final days. Think about it, a tight, emotional, character-driven conclusion that shows how Dutton's leadership ends and how the ranch transitions to the next generation. This would allow Costner to return without committing to a long filming schedule. It would also give the creators a chance to craft a focused, cinematic send-off for one of television's most iconic characters. Some reports even suggest that Season 6 could fill the gap between Season 5 Part A and the unaired Part B. That gap has been a huge point of frustration. Fans never got to see how John responds to Jamie's betrayal, how Beth confronts the fallout of her family's collapse, and whether Case truly steps up to take control of the ranch. Season 6 could be all about that, the reckoning, the consequences, and the legacy of John Dutton. Imagine this. The season begins with John realizing that his enemies are closer than ever. Jamie, his own son, is planning to have him impeached or worse. Beth is ready for war. The land is under threat from developers. And John knows that his time as Montana's governor and as the patriarch of the Dutton family is coming to an end. He's surrounded by betrayal, by shifting loyalties, and by the weight of everything he's sacrificed for the ranch. This wouldn't be just another season. It would be the endgame, the conclusion of a dynasty. And it wouldn't need to rely on big battles or flashy drama. Just seeing John Dutton fight to protect his land one last time, while facing his own mortality and reflecting on the choices he made. That's the story fans want. It's not about revenge or victory. It's about legacy, about whether all the pain and bloodshed meant something, or whether it was all in vain. And here's the twist. The spin-offs already in production might connect to this finale. Remember, Rip and Beth are getting their own show, and Case is starring in Lawmen, Yellowstone, a CBS spin-off. These shows could pick up right where Season 6 leaves off. We could see how John's death, if it happens, impacts each character, and how the Dutton name lives on or falls apart. In fact, it's possible that Yellowstone Season 6 is being crafted secretly to serve as a bridge to these new shows. The recent teaser post, Kevin Costner's comments, and the timing of production all suggest that something is already in motion. They're just not announcing it yet. And there's one more reason why Season 6 makes sense now. Taylor Sheridan's contract. Sheridan is under a massive deal with Paramount, reportedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That deal includes producing content for the Yellowstone universe. And guess what? Yellowstone, the original series, still has unfinished business. From a financial and storytelling standpoint, finishing the show properly with Costner would boost viewership, restore trust with fans, and reignite global interest in the franchise. So, don't be surprised if in the coming months, we hear official news that Yellowstone Season 6 is in pre-production. Don't be surprised if Costner returns for a final chapter, especially now that he's wrapped filming on Horizon and is actively promoting Westerns again. The stars are aligning, the demand is loud, and the Yellowstone team knows they can end the story without John Dutton. Still, fans remain skeptical. Many are asking, is this all just a stunt to get attention for the spin-offs? Is Costner truly coming back, or is it just a PR game? These questions are valid. But when the official channel posts something like that, they know exactly what they're doing. They know the reaction it will trigger. They know fans won't forget the way things ended. So, maybe this time they're listening. In the next section, we'll look at the behind-the-scenes politics, Costner's shifting public image, and what Taylor Sheridan has revealed, or refuse to reveal about Yellowstone's future. Behind every twist in Yellowstone's story, both on-screen and off, lies a web of behind-the-scenes drama that's just as intense as anything the Dutton family faces. And if there's one thing that's becoming increasingly clear, it's this. The story of Yellowstone is far from over, not just because of fan demand, but because the people behind it might finally be ready to make things right. Let's start with Kevin Costner. For over a year, Costner was painted as the villain in the Yellowstone drama. Reports swirled that he was too busy with his own movie, Horizon, that he didn't want to commit to filming the final episodes, and that he had clashed with Taylor Sheridan over creative control. Rumors even suggested that Costner walked off set, leaving the cast and crew in limbo. But in recent months, Costner has started speaking out, and what he's saying now is flipping the narrative. In several interviews while promoting Horizon, Costner made it clear that he did not abandon Yellowstone. According to him, he wanted to finish John Dutton's story. He had even cleared his schedule to make it happen. But he claims that scripts weren't ready, filming kept getting delayed, and eventually, the whole situation fell apart. His words: "I loved doing Yellowstone. I gave it everything I had. But at some point, I needed clarity. And I wasn't getting that." That doesn't sound like a man who's done with the show. That sounds like someone who's still willing to return, if the conditions are right. And Costner's recent public appearances suggest he's softening his stance. He's praised the cast, called John Dutton one of the greatest roles of his life, and said he has no hard feelings toward Sheridan or Paramount. In Hollywood, when an actor begins saying things like that, it's usually a signal, a way to open the door for future negotiations. Now, let's look at Taylor Sheridan. Sheridan, the creator and writer of Yellowstone, has remained notoriously tight-lipped about the Costner situation. He's given a few vague quotes hinting that he was disappointed by how things ended, but he's never directly blamed Costner. And recently, he's admitted that he always intended to give John Dutton a proper ending, even if that meant finding a way to work with Costner again. And here's something fans need to understand. Sheridan isn't just a writer anymore. He's a producer, a businessman, and the face of one of Paramount's most valuable franchises. Yellowstone made Sheridan a household name, and ending it the wrong way hurt his reputation, at least among fans. That's why now, with spin-offs in full production, he may be looking for redemption, not just for the show, but for himself. Some insiders have reported that Sheridan is reworking the final Yellowstone scripts, possibly with Costner in mind. And since the Yellowstone brand is still a global phenomenon, there's pressure from the network to deliver a finale that will satisfy fans and bring them back. But here's the reality: Sheridan doesn't have unlimited time. He's juggling 1883, 1923, For Sixes, Lawmen, Yellowstone, and even more spin-offs that haven't been announced yet. If he wants to give Yellowstone Season 6 a proper send-off with Kevin Costner, it has to happen soon. And that's where the recent teaser post comes in. Some believe it was a test balloon, a way to gauge fan reaction to see if people are still invested. Others think it was a signal to Costner, a public way of saying, "We're ready if you are." Either way, it worked. The internet exploded, and the Yellowstone name was back in the headlines. So, what happens next? Most likely, we'll see a formal announcement from Paramount in the coming months. It may not be called Yellowstone Season 6. It could be a limited series, a special event, or even a movie-length finale. But it will focus on John Dutton's final story, and if everything lines up, Kevin Costner will return. Even better, this finale could set the stage for all the spin-offs. Beth and Rip's new show, Case's Journey, and future Dutton stories could all connect, creating a massive shared universe. And if Yellowstone pulls off this return, it could become one of the most memorable comebacks in TV history. Here's the truth: fans have waited long enough. They deserve closure. They deserve a final chapter that honors everything Yellowstone stood for: loyalty, legacy, land, and sacrifice. And most of all, they deserve to see John Dutton's fate unfold, not in rumors, not in off-screen explanations, but in a powerful, on-screen story. So, what do you think? Is Kevin Costner really coming back? Is Yellowstone Season 6 finally happening? Or is this just another tease in a long line of broken promises? Whatever the truth may be, one thing's for sure: the Dutton legacy isn't over yet. For more updates, insider news, and deep dives into Yellowstone and its spin-offs, make sure to like and follow. And check out the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.